page 128. Ya la, ya la, la la. Ya la, la, la la. Ya la, 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 la la. Ya la, 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 la la.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shalom.
Oh, you're so quiet. Shabbat Shalom. Also, a very happy Pesach, happy Passover. I'm Rabbi Jonathan Blake. I'm joined on the bima by Rabbi Sasha Bacon to my left. Almost cancer. Isaac Sonnet Asor to my right. How many days now? It's not counting.
I've been told we're at a month, I believe.
What's the day of your ordination?
May 7th.
May 7th. Okay, that's exactly 1 month from today. Our beloved Isaac, our cantorial intern, will be ordained a full cantor, and then we'll really make him work hard. We're also joined by Pete Malinverni at the piano, and we wish Shabbat Shalom to all who are joining our service tonight via our live stream. Yedid Nefesh, the one whom my soul desires with love. The Pesach season is the springtime season, and the springtime season is the season of love, of flowers in bloom, of animals finding their mates, and of human beings seeking sacred connection. And so it's customary throughout the week and days leading up to and during Pesach to hear passages from the Bible's great love poem, Shir HaShirim, the Song of Songs, and passages from this love poem be threaded throughout tonight's worship. We're going to begin our service as we always do by kindling Shabbat lights, and it's poignant that on the first yard site, the first anniversary of her husband Mark's passing, we would invite Helene Larinsky, our congregant, forward to kindle lights for Shabbat and renew in our hearts a sense of hope. The words of the bracha, the blessing, can be found on page 120.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvos v'tzivanu lahadnik nir shel Shabbat.
Amen. Thanks, Helene. May Mark's memory be for a blessing. Thank you for blessing our community tonight with the giving of light.
This tradition of reciting the Song of Songs, the Bible's great anthology of love poetry, is one of my favorite traditions.
And the ancient rabbis imagined that the Song of Songs as an epic duet between God and the Jewish people. And it's a duet that we continue to sing to this day. I'll teach a little bit more on this topic during the Devar Torah this evening. And so the song comes with its own special melody, and we'll be using that melody as a sort of leitmotif, a musical theme that will wind its way throughout the service. And it's my prayer for us that we're able to add our voices to this everlasting melody of our tradition. And as the song sings of the earth's awakening following winter's dormancy, may we all find in this festival and its theme the reawakening of our own hearts. We will continue on page 129 at the top of the page, and we'll first hear these words, Dodi Li, chanted to the traditional melody. Dodi Li va'ani lo haroe bashoshanim. Dodi li va'ani lo haroe bashoshanim. Dodi li mizodola min hamidbar mizodola min hamidbar. Dodi li va'ani lo haroe bashoshanim. Dodi li. Page 138. Lecha dodi likrat kala Panei Shabbat nekabla.
Verses 1, 2, 5, and 9, Lecha Dodi.
Lecha dodi likrat kala Panei Shabbat nekabla. Lecha dodi likrat kala Panei Shabbat nekabla. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad hishmi'anu el hamiyuchad. Adonai echad u'shemo echad l'shem u'tiferet v'litila. Lecha dodi likrat kala Panei Shabbat nekabla. Lecha dodi likrat kala Panei Shabbat nekabla. Likrat Shabbat v'necha ki mekor habracha merosh mikedem nesucha sof ma'aseh b'machshavat techila. Lecha dodi likrat kala Panei Shabbat nekabla. Lecha dodi likrat kala Panei Shabbat nekabla. דודי ואמר לי, קומי לך, רעייתי יפתי, ולכי לך.
My beloved spoke to me, saying, "Arise, my darling, my fair one, come away." Or in this case, we remain standing. Baruch Hu, page 146.
ברכו את אדוני המבורך.
ברוך אדוני המבורך לעולם ועד.
ברוך אדוני המבורך לעולם ועד.
For now the winter is past, the rains are over and gone. Buds can be seen in the land. The time of pruning has come. The song of the dove is heard in our land. Page 148.
קומי לך, רעייתי, יפתי, קומי לך. תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה
This time I'd like to invite forward to the Bima Emma Nagel and Peter Simon, who are going to stand with me under a chuppah a week from tomorrow night at the Biltmore in Phoenix, Arizona, my birth state, to take their vows as husband and wife. And so this is your ufruf. You're coming forward in front of a loving and supportive community to celebrate your marriage before it becomes fact a week from tomorrow night, in case you've missed my memo that it's a week from tomorrow night. Just in case you're counting the days, it's a week from tomorrow night, right? So you've been blessed already tonight, surrounded by words of the Bible's great love poem, Shir HaShirim. This is a pretty bawdy poem. It talks about the way in which people feel in springtime. It talks about flowers in bloom and the heady aromas of the rose garden. It talks about gazelles leaping after their mates. It talks about compliments, one man to one woman to one man. It even gets into what parts of their bodies they really like. The rabbis looked at this poem and they said, oh my goodness, how can we include this in the Holy Bible? Maybe this is better left on the cutting room floor, and it actually prompted one of the great debates in Jewish tradition. Ultimately, it was the greatest sage of his generation, Rabbi Akiva, who said, not only is the Song of Songs holy, it is actually the Holy of Holies. It is Kodesh HaKodashim. This is the holiest of all books, because there is no more divine experience in our lives. There is no way that we experience God more deeply, more intimately than through human love. And they actually said that for one person to find another person who sets his and her soul aflame, that draws one person to another, that binds their futures together, that is the realest experience of God that there can be. And so even as during this springtime season we're celebrating love in full bloom, as we look at you, Emma and Peter, and we can feel not only the love that flows between the two of you, but also the flows from your family members to you. We're so grateful, Emma, to have your dad, Bruce, and your mom, Marla, and your sisters, Ariel and Molly, here with us tonight, and Peter, to have your parents, Linda and Joe, and your sister, Caroline and Brian. And Isaac and I stood under a chuppah with Caroline and Brian just last summer to bless them. How's your first married year going? They should do this, right? This is good. So we want you to know that the love is flowing not just in one direction tonight, but in many directions. And we want to offer words that connect the theme of human love and God's love. They come from the prophet Hosea, who said, "Ve'arastich li le'olam ve'arastich li b'tzedek u'v'mishpat u'v'chesed u'v'rachamim ve'arastich li be'emunah v'yadat et Adonai." I will betroth you unto me forever. I will betroth you to me in righteousness and justice and loving kindness and compassion. I will betroth you to me in faithfulness, and by knowing one another, you will come to know the face of God. And let us all say amen. And Emma and Peter, I'm going to ask you to stay here just as you are for one extra moment as we bless you with these words in song.
ואירסתי לי לעולם, ואירסתי לי בצדק ובמשפט ובחסד וברחמים. ואירסתיך לי באמונה. I'll wind you round me for all time. These bonds I'll tie each day anew, and may we grow ever braver, ever fairer, ever kinder, ever gentler, in faith and truth. I betroth myself to you. ואירסתיך לי לעולם, ואירסתיך לי בצדק ובמשפט ובחסד וברחמים. מזל טוב.
Tough guys. That prayer can make mortal enemies fall in love. And so it's only fitting that we would proceed from the love that Emma and Peter have shared with our community tonight, and what a gift that is for all of us, to the divine love that flows before we recite Shema together. Will the congregation please rise?
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem
and soul and might. You shall love Adonai your God. Ve'ahavta, page 154.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם להות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
So I want everyone to just join me for a moment in taking a really, really deep breath in through your nose and then one out through your mouth. So together. As you listen to the sound of your breath moving in and out, do you not hear the distant sound of an ancient sea, the waves crashing? Can you picture the horizon wiggling your toes as if they were touching the shallow waters of the shore? Are you leading children by hand, or perhaps leaning on someone's shoulder with trepidation? Uncertainty lies ahead, but it is better than the rumbling chariots just behind you. But before you know it, your legs start moving, rushing, as if detached from your body. The salty air brushes against your face as you pick up speed, and you grow amazed at the water separating, as if to roll out a red carpet just for you. Feeling the corners of your mouth curl upward in a smile of hope, of triumph, of freedom. Page 158. This is the season of freedom. We think of the freedom we gained quite some time ago. We realize that freedom is a more complex construct in Israel. Thinking of the rockets, of the recent attack. So we ask for God's shelter and protection. Al Yerushalayim va'al kol amo b'Yisrael as we turn to page 160. Seeking shelter.
Shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael ve'al Yerushalayim ve'al kol amo ve'al Yerushalayim Shalom ve'al Yerushalayim ve'al kol amo ve'al Yerushalayim Shalom. Baruch atah Adonai haporei sukat shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael.
I was asleep, but my heart was awake. My beloved knocks. Let me in, my darling. Page 164, we rise.
Adonai, sifatai tiftach, ufi agid, tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu ve'Elohei avoteinu ve'imoteinu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor ve'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, ve'Konei Hakol, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה, מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן. ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם, בעזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע, מוריד הטל, מכלכל חיים וחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ברופאי חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש.
We take a moment to pray silently, either with the meditations in your heart or with the words of our Siddur, and when you are ready, you may be seated.
Page 180, in the middle of the page. יהיו לרצון אמרי פי, והגיון בי. יהיו לרצון אמרי פי, והגיון בי לפניך. Adonai Tzuri, Adonai Tzuri vegoali, Adonai Tzuri, Adonai Tzuri vegoali. Go inside your heart, just be. Go inside your heart and see what it wants, what it needs, what it yearns when you breathe. Go inside your heart and see. When I was young, I'd listen to the radio, waiting for my favorite songs. You can sing it. When they played, I'd sing along. It made me smile. Those were such happy times. And not so long ago, how I'd wondered where they'd gone. But they're back again, just like a long-lost friend. All the songs I'd loved so well. I heard this classic Carpenters song from 1973 just the other day. I'm still learning the melody, truth be told, while I was getting my son Leo ready for the day. I had been looking for the right song to capture just how I was feeling about the Song of Songs, and there it was. When they get to the part where he's breaking her heart, it can really make me cry. Just like before, it's yesterday once more. I've always understood on some logical level why the Jewish community traditionally recites the Song of Songs on Passover. And it's most clearly embodied in one of the most famous verses. Ana dodi ve'amar li, kumi lach, rayati yafati, ulchi lach, ki hine hastav avar, hageshem chalaf, halach lo. My beloved spoke so to me, arise, my darling, my fair one, come away. For now the winter is past, the rains are over and gone. The blossoms have appeared in the land. The time of singing has come. The song celebrates both the renewal of spring and the sensuality of love, just as the Passover festival celebrates the renewal of the Jewish people. And indeed, the 1st of Nisan marks the first month on the Jewish calendar. I've also taken for granted the traditional reading of the song as an allegory for the love between God and all of us. Passover is the period of mutual infatuation and courtship which leads to the wedding at Mount Sinai, which we mark in 50 days from Passover on Shavuot. And it's only this year that I really started looking at the depth of this allegory. The ancient rabbis' reading of the Song of Songs was compiled in a 7th century collection of commentaries known as Shir HaShirim Rabbah. The rabbis mine the song's every verse for hidden meaning, making connections throughout the entire Hebrew Bible. And read through our ancient teachers' eyes, the song is no frivolous pop tune. As Rabbi Blake taught us just a moment ago, that Rabbi Akiva famously declared that there is no day in the history of the world like the day that the Song of Songs was given. Why? It is because all the writings are holy, yet this is the Holy of Holies. This is the inner sanctum of the Holy Sanctuary. Judith Cates, the professor of women's studies at Hebrew College, teaches that Akiva's comparison between the Song of Songs, Shir HaShirim, and Holy of Holies, Kodesh Kodashim, is profound. In her words, his language for the song summons the physically destroyed, yet always present and potent innermost core of holiness, guarded in secret, yet both containing and radiating outward the most intense manifestation of the presence of God in the midst of the world. To compose a sentence like that, so in less profound terms, in my words, when we enter the Song of Songs then, it's as though we are entering into the Holy of Holies. The rabbis believed that the song sings the entire history of the Jewish people, from degradation in and redemption from Egypt, to revelation at Sinai, to our entry into the Promised Land, to our exile from that Promised Land, into our own time here today, far, far into the future. Let's return just for a moment to the verses that I just recited. Arise, my darling, my fair one, come away. For now the winter has passed, the rains are over and gone. The blossoms have appeared in the land, the time for singing has come. In these verses alone, come away, l'chilach, refers to Abraham and Sarah. For the winter has passed refers to the period of slavery. The blossoms are none other than Moses, Aaron, and Miriam, and the time of singing is, of course, the Song of the Sea, Michamocha. It goes further. Through their creative and their virtuosic reading, these teachers recast the winter as the children of Israel's wandering in the desert, their exile at the hand of the Babylonians, and the final exile, in which we're all technically in right now, that will only be ended by the Messianic era that will be heralded, as we sang in our Seders, by the prophet Elijah. From the rabbi's perspective, every age continues to be part of the great love story of God and the children of Israel, and the soundtrack of that relationship, the Song of Songs, is our song too. And through the song, just like before, it's yesterday once more. The rabbis are articulating something that any music lover knows, that any time we play that record, we play that memory. The cognitive neurologist Andrew Budson calls it musical time travel. Music, he says, accesses episodic memory, which can transport us back in time to a specific event or time period. This particular memory is so powerful that it can often withstand the utterly devastating effects of dementia when our loved ones are robbed of their episodic memory. When we play the song again under new circumstances, it is as though we imprint new memories onto that record. Last night, Leo stayed awake just long enough for us to reach the 4 questions. I held him in my arms, and I chanted the questions on his behalf. And from now on, when I hear the 4 questions, I'll remember, yes, learning them as a child, but I'll also remember hearing them for Leo's first Passover. Each year, we are taught that we must see ourselves as though we personally went forth from Egypt. And so we do the best that we can by play acting, by engaging our senses and our imaginations around the Seder table. But it's that song that is really meant to take us back into that mythic past, to feel the winter of oppression, and to fall as though for the very first time for the Jewish tradition and the community and our most prized values, to fall for the very first time for God, for hope. And yet, when we celebrate any type of anniversary, we don't actually return to the past. We revisit the moment filtered through our lives in the present, bringing with us all of the experience and perspective that has made us who we are in the moments and years since that most important milestone. And replaying that moment allows us to re-experience that feeling that is so easily buried by time, beneath stress and pain and fear. If only we could replay that feeling itself on demand to reinvigorate ourselves in the present, to sustain us in the face of all that would harden our hearts. We have the next best thing. We can replay the song. And so each Passover, we celebrate a timeless anniversary that was once the most important moment in our ancestors' lives. Every year, they renewed their vows to their community and to their God. And thousands of years later, our Seders take on new meaning as we imprint our memories onto our celebrations, but the core remains the same. We still begin the conversation for the child who does not know how to ask. We do this because of what God did for me when I went forth from Egypt. I believe that this is the great challenge, but also the great invitation of Passover. That although that we have to feel that this anniversary belongs as much to us as it did to our ancestors. And that although our future may feel as uncertain, as frightening as it must have been for that first generation, it can also be just as vibrant and as hopeful. Immediately, the words by the poet, author, and activist Muriel Rukeyser, written in 1944, came to my mind. Her words apply no less in the 21st century. To be a Jew in the 20th century is to be offered a gift. If you refuse, wishing to be invisible, you choose death of the spirit, the stone insanity. But the accepting wish, the whole and fertile spirit as guarantee for every human freedom suffering to be free, daring to live for the impossible. Chag Sameach, everyone. Shabbat Shalom.
Well, thinking of the past and how it helps us move forward, we think about how we want to help those we love continue to move forward. So we turn now, thinking of those in our lives that are in need of healing, whether in mind, body, or in spirit. And as I gaze across the room and my eyes meet yours, please feel free to recite the name of your loved one aloud. Today, WRT is holding in our hearts Jennifer Leventhal, Jeffrey Millman, Malka Gila Batbina, Emerson Lorenzoni, Joan Ross Sorkin, Mitchell Lieberman, Loris James, James Masillo, Richard Lasky, Stephen Gilberg, Yochanan Ben Zipporah, Judy Balsam, Ilana Bat Shmuel, Leah Bat Nina Bat Benjamin, Rachel Bracha, Ashley Norfleet, Tony and Gina DeLappa, Matthew Atwood, Anthony and Elizabeth Dankner, Deborah Kapnick, Nicole Shusi, Andrew Goldstein, Chava Batsara, Eliyahu Chaim Ben Fredel, Sheila Freed, Malka Tzipora Bas Rachel, Tamar Bat Malka, Deborah Greenfield, Heschel Mer Ben Davida Chana, and Jenny Kaufman. We think of also those wounded either by the car ramming or the rockets over in Israel or struggling with a broken heart. And together we turn to page 371.
May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, bless those in need of healing with refuah shalema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say,
So as many of us might know, between Passover and Shavuot, we start something called the counting of the Omer, Sfirat HaOmer. And before we recite this blessing together, which can be found on page 570, I want to do a brief plug and encourage people to join us every Friday morning, either over Zoom at 8:30 or in person in the CJL at 11. Because though the Omer used to be a sacrificial offering as a way of counting the days, what we can do now is take not a counting, but an counting of our souls. And we're doing that together using meditation. So if you want to hear more about that, come find me later or shoot me an email. But for now, we will recite the blessing of counting the Omer together.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al sfirat haomer.
Our praise to you, Adonai, sovereign of all, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to count the Omer. Hayom Yom Sheni LaOmer. Today is the second day in the Omer.
Thank you. Together we rise, turning now to Aleinu on page 586.
Aleinu l'shabeach la'adon hakol, ate kedula le'yotzer bereshit, shelo asanu kegoye ha'aratzot, ve'lo samanu kemishbechot adama, shelo sam chelkeinu kahem, ve'gor aleinu kechol hamonam. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד. שימני כחותם על ליבך, כחותם על זרועך, כי עזך המוות אהבה, קשך ישאול קנאה. רשפיה אש שלהבת ים.
Set me as a seal upon your heart, for love is strong as death. Passion is mighty as the grave, burning as an eternal flame. As Isaac so beautifully said, holidays and days and songs can help us hearken the memory of those we love. So we turn now to those memories, and we rise in the following order. If you are in a period of Shiva, 7 days since the death of a loved one, we ask you to rise. If you are in a period of Shloshim, 30 days since the death of a loved one, please rise. If you are in a period of Shana within 1 year of your loved one's passing, please rise. If you are honoring a yahrzeit, the anniversary of a loved one's passing, please rise. We now invite the entire congregation to rise in solidarity with our mourners. Today, our WRT community is also remembering those taken from us in recent days. Murray Ginsburg, husband of Ruth Ginsburg and father of Daniel Ginsburg and Iris Howe. Wallace Musaf, husband of Sandy Musaf and father of Jay, Scott, and Adam Musaf. Cynthia Klebanow, grandmother of Jennifer Curtis. John Kaufman, father of Luis Riddle Kaufman, Jean Alter, and Mark Kaufman. Kenneth Zalesnik, husband of Carolyn Zalesnik. Phil Basser, father of Shari Potter. Dorothy Golub, mother of Larissa Golub Wagner. Suzanne Chesler, mother of Matthew and Mark Chesler. Eleanor Greenfield, cousin of Steve Siegel and Fran Scheffler Siegel. And Arthur Hirschberg, grandfather of Danielle Holtzman. WRT is also remembering those whose yahrzeit is marked over this Shabbat. Samuel Aaron, Robert Bader, Sidney Bassick, Ann Bernstein, Mildred Borer, Arnold Bronson, Minnie Chernin, Ray Cotton, Lester Dembitzer, Hazel Dute, Wendy Epstein, Caleb Ezra, Frida Feiner, Anita Feil, Bennett Lowenstein Fishman, David Geller, Henry Graff, Gary Greenfield, Samuel S. Kaufman, Richard A. Kirstein, Betty Krupman, Blanche Leon, Mark Larinsky, Dorothy Mantell, Beatrice Margolis, Yvonne Marks, Judith Martillier, Joseph Meltzer, Irving Nietzberg, Jane Nussbaum, Arthur Ox Jr., Edward Piper, Sandra Ortner, Joseph David Perloff, Paul Rittmaster, Faye Rubin, Gerald Rubin, Gustav Rubner, Alice Rudin, Nathan Samuth, Betty Sarter, Beverly Schaefer, Sol Shapiro, Alan Shedlin, Anita Silverman Welsh, Fanny Silverstein, Herman Smith, Robert Sokol, Jack Talski, Marvin Tesler, Milton Thurm, Ira Toff, Seymour Wang, Carl Weber, Irene Werner, Joel Willis, and Elaine Weiner. If I have inadvertently mispronounced the name of a loved one, or if you are remembering someone whose name I did not mention, please feel free to recite their name aloud now. Together we turn to page 598 for the Mourner's Kaddish. Yit gadal v'yit kadash shemei rabba, ba'alma divrach yutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uv'izman kariv v'yimru, amen. Yehi shmei rabba mivarach la'olam u'almei almaya, yit barach v'yishtabach v'yit pa'ar v'yit romam v'yit naseh, v'yit hadar v'yit aleh v'yit halal shemei d'kudasha barichu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran v'alma v'yimru, amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'el kol Yisrael, v'yimru, amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'el kol Yisrael, v'yimru, amen.
Ose shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'yimeru, amen.
Seated. So I am honored to be filling the role of President Warren Haber tonight to give you some announcements. So first, I want to thank our greeters so much, Nancy Michaels and B. Krimiau. We have no bar bat mitzvahs to celebrate this week, but come back next week, and I'm sure you will hear more. We have Torah study on Saturday, April 8th at 9 a.m. You can come either in person or over Zoom. We have the Passover Yisker service on Wednesday, April 12th at 10 a.m., and that will be outside in the CJL. We have Adult Learning, Introduction to Talmud, on Thursday, April 13th at 10:15 a.m., also on Zoom. We have Nurture Your Body, Kindle Your Soul, movement for all ages and all abilities, Thursday, April 13th from 1:30 to 2:30 p.m., and that has an oneg that follows the class at 3 p.m. And we have also, I'm going to repeat this, Friday mornings, we have Med Lab, Explore Meditation, either 8:30 on Zoom or 11 in the CJL. We have 2 amazing WRT trips to Israel for congregants ages 6 and up. So that's a wide range right there. Registration is now open. And we want to thank Linda and Joe Simon for sponsoring this evening's oneg in honor of the upcoming marriage of Peter Simon and Emma Nagel. Please join us in the lobby after services. Shabbat shalom, everybody. And until then, we hope you will rise, join us for our closing song and the motzi and the kiddush.
Olam chesed yibane, yadadai, yadadai, yadadai. Olam chesed yibane, yadadai, yadadai, yadadai. Olam chesed yibane,
us build this world from love. Ya-la-la, ya-la, ya-la-la, la. If we build this world from love, ya-la-la, ya-la, ya-la-la, la. Then God will build this world from love. Ya-la-la, ya-la, ya-la-la, la. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu. B'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uvratzon inchilanu. Zikaron le'maaseh bereshit, ki hu yom techila le'mikra'ei kodesh, zecher yetziat Mitzrayim. Ki banu v'acharta, ve'otanu kidashta, mikol ha'amim, ve'shabbat kodshecha, ve'ahava u'veratzon, hinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh haShabbat. Amen. L'chaim. So we have here this delicious shmura matzah for making motzi during the festival of Pesach. If you'd like to put your arm around somebody close to you, you can remember that we are strengthened not only by the things that nourish our bodies, but also by a community that supports our spirits. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Shabbat shalom. Chag sameach.